good, everybody? A little bit of a jam to kick things off today. I hope you are all doing well. Thank you for being here. Let's get a little background tunes as we chill here on the intro. As you probably just saw, we are today dusting off. And I say dusting off, I mean it quite literally. The Maschine Mk3. Maschine Mk3 by Native Instruments. This is something I've had for a long time. It's a great piece of gear. That's the wrong button. It's a great piece of gear. It hasn't clicked for me in the past, though. Some things I love about it, some things I hate about it. And I was immediately reminded of those things last night, yesterday, when I pulled this thing out from the closet and started working with it. I was immediately reminded of the things that I loved about it. Getting started making a beat. We'll get those things today, but I know we have some Maschine heads in chat, like Bishop is here. I saw BX Hill says that they really like their Maschine. I love that. Hewitt says has great pads. The rest of it always like taking the long way for me. I am glad I don't feel insane because that is very similar to how I feel. Per Lemming Wittes says I used to use it a lot. Let me know your experiences with Maschine in chat because that is good context to have. I need to drink this water because there is something in my throat. And I should say thank you all for joining me today on this fine Thursday. We are live every Thursday here on this channel, or at least we try to be. We should be live every Thursday on this channel. Usually just trying out different gear, always making music, perhaps checking out different plugins, things like that. Like last week, we checked out the new Rhodes plugin, which I put a clip up from. And I wanted to, the upload this week. Let's talk about this week's video upload. So this week's upload was a clip from last week's stream, and that is not ideally what I wanted to post. I have a video in the chamber ready to go, but the sponsor approval didn't come in time for Tuesday, and I do want to keep to that schedule because I think it's good to be on that schedule. So a new, fresh, real, proper video is coming on Tuesday of next week, and it's something that was really, I had a lot of fun shooting it. The style of it was really fun to shoot. The kind of experimentation I did in the video was really fun, and I think you'll all enjoy it. So stay tuned for next Tuesday's video for a proper upload. And there's lots of cool stuff in the pipeline. I've pretty much just finished a brand new track. It was actually a Beattober beat. That I converted into a full track, and I'm hoping to do a bunch of content around that. I've got a new MIDI controller in the mail that I'm not talking about yet, but I'm making a video for. It's like a travel MIDI controller, which has an interesting concept around it. You'll see that soon. And some other talks behind the scenes that I have another meeting today about, but I guess you could say it directly pertains to live streaming. I have some thoughts around that. I might be consulting some of the YouTube members around some bigger decisions that need to be happening. But Chris Shell says, "How's the Rhodes track coming?" I don't really know if I'll finish it. I don't think that challenge is really suited for me. Also, yeah, that's what I'll say. And there were I kind of voiced a lot of that in last week's stream. Greetings from the rocket ship, says Michael Mueller. Oh, hello. I hope you're staying safe up there. Well, hello, everybody. I want to say thank you for my members. Those are the people with the green names and the cool little badges next to their name in chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. It really means a lot. I hope you all have seen your names in the credits of recent uploads. I'm trying to keep that as consistent as possible, where I upload the new list for every upload. So if you are a member, you can check that out. I also asked members in Discord, hopefully everybody saw that, I proposed something where what we were doing was a members only workshop. We were doing that every month. And then we're also doing the track review streams, which any member can submit music to get their track reviewed. Now the struggle for me from a time management perspective and trying to keep everything at quality was 2 additional streams per month was kind of not conducive to like keeping it good quality. And just in general, I think people want to work on their music for longer. So maybe every month they don't have a track. And then for the workshops, like going in deep on these topics, to do that every single month is a bit of a stretch for me to be able to do it the right way. So my proposal for the YouTube members and the vast community out here can weigh in as well is we'll do an every other month schedule where every other month will be a track review. And then on the off months, we will have a members only workshop. That's going to allow me to do a bit more things at higher quality, keep up with the video upload schedule, keep up with the Thursday streams. But if anybody has strong opinions on that, I'd be happy to hear it. But all that is to say is if you do become a member, you can attend those members only workshops. And if you are a new member, you can watch the past 5 members only workshops, which are really great. And then you can also submit music to be reviewed, be part of our Discord community, get a bunch of free downloads. That's what comes with membership. And you're supporting the channel, supporting my work, which is fantastic. And that's all the top of the show stuff I have, I think. But let's blast off with a tweet. And if you are on Twitter, it's very helpful for me. Oh, and maybe a little drama, a little spiciness I can show you as well. But if you are on Twitter and you can help me out with a retweet here, that would help me a lot. Let's say literally dusted off the Maschine Mk3 for this stream. I guess I need a link to the stream. I always forget that though. Let me find a link to the stream. One moment. But yeah, I have to say I quite literally dusted off the Maschine Mk3. And the reason we're doing this stream today is actually because I ran a poll, which I will show the results of. I ran a poll on the community tab asking about 4 different boxes. And Maschine kind of ran away with it. Let me see. All right, that's blasted there. If you can blast that off with a retweet, I would much appreciate it. Help more people find the stream. But yes, this was the poll I ran. Check that out. 51% wanted more Maschine. So that's saying something. Second place was 404. Not a lot of love for the model cycles or the circuit tracks. But that's fine. So I figured we'd break it out today. I did ask Sarah, who's been doing a lot of live streams and is part the inspiration for me to just pull this out of the closet because she's been doing her streams, been making music on both MPC and Maschine. She's been crushing it. So a little bit of inspiration there. I wanted to figure out what the best kit was, what the best expansion was. Bishop also made some suggestions there. What do I want to show you? I want to show you something spicy. Oh yeah. This crazy comment. Who knew that this still existed, eh? This was on one of my push performances. Dude, you're not a musician. You just push buttons. We're going to be doing a lot of button pushing today. That's what I have to say. That's crazy. Crazy. 2023. What has to be true for this guy's life for him to say that? He definitely learned guitar in high school, took guitar lessons. What do you think? It's guitar lessons or drum lessons? Is he a guitar player or a drummer? Probably doesn't even really play gigs anymore. Yeah, I don't know. What has to be true? And that's the spice there. A little spice. I don't like to focus too much on the spice in 2023. That's why these people don't get replied to, or we don't do the rant videos anymore, because I like to just hide them. They become completely silenced. Jaro says, as a drummer myself, he's probably a drummer. You're pushing his button, says CJ. Very funny, very funny. Miss Nadia says, I don't do illustrations. I just make the lines that cross each other. Yeah, exactly. You just put a pencil on paper. Miss Nadia did our intro screen, if you don't know. He has a tattoo on his belly that says Troll Life. for sure. No, it probably says like California or whatever he's from. My dad is in the chat. My mom is in the chat. Hello, hello. He peeked at bar chords. People go out of their way to leave weirdo comments. I just thank them. It's bizarre. You know, yeah, it's bizarre. We don't have to give it too much air. Some people say the same to Uric. Remember, I'm a designer. Then I just push buttons in Photoshop and that it's not that hard. Yeah. Those buttons aren't easy to push. That's true. Should we start talking specifically about these buttons and how easy or not easy they are to push? Did I have anything else to cover at the top of the show here? Did I miss a troll? You slightly missed a troll, Dustin. All right, let me get my screen organized. Let's pause the background music. Let's make this full screen. And let's talk about Maschine and the Maschine software. I guess I want to be in this screen for now. So here we go, Maschine Mk3. How is the touch response of the Maschine? Let's get into it. Yeah, and if you all do have questions throughout today's stream, I will do my best to answer them, of course. Let me get my chat in a way where I can see you all and we can have a good time. I used to be a machine boy, but I always hated the software, says the Wavies. Listen, okay, here's my final spiel. We're going to talk about Maschine today, Maschine Mk3, and why I don't use it as often as I should, even though I think it's a pretty decent MIDI controller. And they've done some good things with the integration. I'm not a Maschine expert. Sarah the Instrumentalist has an amazing course if you want to go become an expert or if you want to learn from an expert. But I do think some of my opinions and things around the design of the software and the hardware are valid. And here's my big pitch. Chat. You let me know if I'm crazy. I feel like I know a lot about music technology. I know about music gear. I know a lot about teaching music technology and music. And a lot of that plays into knowing about the design of these machines and this software. One day, one of these companies, whether it's Native Instruments, whether it's Akai, whether it's Novation, whether it's Artifon, one of these days, perhaps, one of these companies might go out on a limb and bring TAETRO on as a creative director for a product launch, for a new product design, a new product release. So I can use my expertise, everything that I've learned from this community, from doing this for years, and make one of the most successful music making pieces of hardware ever to be designed and yet to be designed. Will that happen? I'm not sure. But today, we can consider this like a consulting session for Native Instruments if they happen to see it. And I will also say, Native Instruments, shout out to Mick over there, has been supportive of me and my channel for since nearly the beginning. Since really when the channel started popping off. It's the reason I even have Maschine. I have Maschine Micro. I've got the M32. They are always hooking it up with all the software side of things and the hardware side of things. So anything I say today, it's not meant to hurt any feelings. It's simply meant to be like my opinion, and this is how I would take it on. So let's talk about it. We kicked things off on the stream. We kicked things off with that little performance, which was very fun. And that's one of the reasons that I straight up got energized when I first pulled this thing out, because literally all I did was load up a kit from one of the Maschine expansions, and I can automatically start making music because we've got sort of melodic, harmonic one-shots, cool effects and stuff, and you can get right into beat making. And I also realized that I haven't been hardcore finger drumming in a while. Not that I've ever hardcore finger drummed, but I'm no Datsun or J Black, that's for sure. Oh, Mick is in the chat. Hello, Mick. Round of applause for Mick. So, yes, things that I love. Kicking things right off. Opening up one of these kits. Being able to make music right away. Being able to perform right away. And let me walk through my basic process with just this one kit. Because of course I could do the whole thing where I'm playing the tune, like playing everything out. Or we could go ahead and like try recording this as some song ideas. So let's do that. I'm going to be working here on the hardware. I'll cut back and forth to the software when it's necessary. But I should, of course, tap the tempo, right? But I don't need to hold shift to tap the tempo. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not capturing that correctly. That button is a little tough to hit, but if we are here and I turn the metronome on, shift metronome on, click play, we definitely want something faster than that. That's a little slow. Let's just get up to 85. 3, 4. That's a fine tempo. It's a little further laid back than it was originally, but we were able to do that. So now let's go ahead and record the first idea. Let's just record the like chord melodic stuff. So right out the gate, that workflow is fantastic, right? Because you can start making an idea. I didn't have to make an actual pattern or anything yet. I'm going to turn the metronome off. Instead, what happened in the software was it just started recording, and as I continued to add musical ideas, the pattern length grew until I hit record again and punched out. Like very similar, you all know we use Ableton here all the time. It's very similar to that. Hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. So, we just did that right from the software, right? Let me figure out what I want to do. Let's get these hi-hats down. So now we're basically just looping, right? Cool. We're just like you can keep going doing that because we're in that record mode. We're just overdubbing and going like that. That's fantastic. Okay, then let's say I'm going to jump over to some performance effects. So we're like part performing, part composing. We can switch to a stutter effect. And I do like that touch strip there. I'm doing that via a touch strip, using the screen and the selectors to change what type of effects we're using. Let's do some scratching. Okay, but like it's getting a little stale. Maybe we could change things up a bit. Let's cut out the kick and the snare. Bring back in just the kick. And we could do something simultaneously. So you see how we're kind of like working in tandem with things. All good, right? So that workflow is a thing that I love about Maschine. Being able to do that all right from the hardware is fantastic. You see that it's like kind of part performance, part beat making, part composing. I think that's pretty good. Let's add another group. Now, here's where my fluency is going to play a part, but it would be great to add in some plugins, which I'm also trying to do this from the screen as well. And I do, if you see me struggling, it is part because I have a glare from my light today. But we can scroll through our different instruments here. And like, here's where I start to get lost in the sauce from a design perspective. This knob can be clicked and we can kind of like scroll through our instruments here. However, when I turn it, it's selecting between these, the presets. This knob makes sense to do that. But if you think about the process in order, the first thing I would want to do is select an instrument, right? So I guess it's fine. Okay, I'll jump to this knob and we can find an instrument. Let's find a lead sound from Cloud Supply, maybe. Let's find all characters is fine. All types, let's find specifically a lead. Again, doing this all right from the hardware. Well, it's a Groovebox. How far can you go without turning into a full DAW? I think that is the main problem, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's just choose this sound first. It is not previewing the sound for some reason. Prehear is on, which prehear is like the craziest word for that, but okay. I'm not getting a preview sound. So like here, it's like, what happens? And chat, you can check me, because it can be me just not knowing what the heck's going on. But previously we were just scrolling through sounds and we were hearing previews. Perhaps they're not downloaded or something like that. I don't know. Let's just try to load that. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? I don't think so. Let's try loading it from a different vendor or something. Diva's great, right? I'm still not getting the preview sound, which is interesting. So that is all to say, like, is this actually faster than this? Let's look at the instruments. Let's find a piano keys. Well, that would probably be why it's not installed correctly, which is another issue that plagues Native Instruments stuff for me. Maybe not for you, though. Let's find one of these. All right, so it's probably not previewing the sounds because it's not installed correctly. Great, we've got that loaded up. Okay, fantastic. Yurik says, I always have the issue with context stuff and I hate it. Yes. What happens all the time with Native Instruments stuff is you have to like open native access basically every time you open your computer, because if something's not updated or something isn't, basically if something not updated, it's not going to load correctly. Complete Control has this problem. The Native Instrument stuff just straight up won't even show up in Complete Control, which is kind of mind-boggling, but it has no problem loading up like an Arturia plugin. Okay, but not to harp on the negative. Let's keep things going with the positive as long as we can. So that was a little bit of a struggle in the process there. This, I'm not convinced, is ever faster than using your mouse and clicking on exactly what you want to do. I'm not convinced that even if you're the most proficient person, that doing this, then doing this, then doing this is faster than doing this with one hand motion and your mouse. Not convinced that that's ever going to be faster. And the thing to me about this, the big issue is, if you want to make a device that's less convenient than a full DAW, Akai's already doing that with the MPC. If you want to make a device that is less portable than a laptop, Akai's already doing that with the MPC. So I feel like there were a lot of lessons learned, and clearly this is Maschine is Native Instruments' take on the MPC, the classic MPC, right? I think it goes without saying. It doesn't go far enough. It doesn't solve the problems that are created by the MPC. And I know the MPC and the Maschine are both beloved devices. I know that. I think they are beloved, MPC more than Maschine, beloved despite their issue, in spite of their issues. not because they lack issues. Okay, so we've loaded up an instrument now, and we went into keyboard mode, which basically has given us a chromatic scale. And machine heads, you can always check me on certain things. However, I'm in keyboard mode, right? I'm in keyboard mode. It loads with the chromatic scale. That's not super helpful most of the time. What I would love is, like Serato Studio has this, for instance, where the project should be set to a key and a tempo, and then every instrument that I load should be in that key. So from this screen, it's fine. We've selected a major scale. We have gone ahead and, well, we have the ability to change the root note by semitone. What key are we even in right now? I think we're in probably C minor. Yeah, I think that's right. And we can, of course, change octaves. Great. That's great. The other thing they do a great job of is the chords mode, which I don't know why other software folks cannot figure this out, that if you're going to have a chords mode on a device, I don't want to just play major chords up the scale. No, I need to play the chords in the context of the key that we are in. And that's what Native Instruments does really well. Those are all chords you would actually use in the course of a song. And not only that, we can change this to chord sets, which gives us like a little more interesting options than just root note triad chords. So while those chords you just heard were in the key of E flat major, because that's the key that we're in, they're just like a little more interesting, and then you have different options that you can go through. Basically, different tensions, different inversions. I think this is the best implementation of like a chord mode in a pad controller. You can have different keys per device. It's not one key per project. I'm going to push you on that. I think sure, you could have a key change in a project, something like that. However, I think for the majority of people, you are able to say this key is in E flat major and that's what it's in, you know? If you want to do a key change, sure. And that's not to say, let me bounce that off. All that is if Maschine had the ability to set the key of your project, all it would be a convenience so that every instrument that you load up is set to that key automatically. So I can skip the step of, no, I don't want to be in chromatic mode. Put me in key with a project. However, if you did do something like a key change or whatever, you could manually still, in this same exact way, change it. But you don't have to take a step. It's not necessary to take that step unless you're going one step further. Right? We're always talking about convenience, convenience, convenience. And not only that, we automate things like tempo. You could have a tempo change in your track. Could we not automate it so that, like if we look at the software here, scene 1, maybe even the key is per scene, or until you change the key of a scene, like see, we're in E flat, right? If I created a new scene, it should probably make it in E flat as well. However, until I change the key of a scene, it stays in the project default. But then you can change the scene default, the scene key if you want. Consider that. I keep hitting that button and I want to hit that button. Intrigued Viewer says, in my opinion, the best pad controller for chords is the Launchpad Pro 3, although it's only a controller. Well, this is only a controller too, and that's the problem. I saw a couple questions about, like, not questions, but comments about Grooveboxes and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you still have to connect this to a laptop. And here's my thing with all these devices. Like what I was complaining about before, it's not convenient to touch 5 knobs to get to the sound that you want. It is 100 times more convenient to use your mouse and click on the sound that you want. Now, I could see in the context of a performance where you're not wanting to interact with the laptop, you could just interact with the hardware. But you're not actually like doing that process. Like the hardware should be about that music making process, that performance process, not the logistical process of building a track, right? Because that's always going to be more nuanced and easier to do with a mouse. So there's just certain functions that it's like the hardware doesn't need to do that. And for some of these manufacturers, I do think what they do is sort of design a thing and say, these are all the buttons that we have. Let's find focus. Let's find a purpose for these buttons instead of what do we need to have hands-on tactile control of? All right, anyway, that's cool. I just wanted to show that keyboard and chords mode. I think that's good. And where are we going to go from here? Okay, so now, right, we want to probably like make some variations of this for our song. So patterns, we could do this right from the, let's see what we can do from here. We can duplicate this pattern, I believe, by doing this to this. Yes. So now if we go to pattern mode, we have 2 patterns and that mirrored it in the software, right? 2 patterns, they're exactly the same. Fantastic. And let me give another hot take here. Dear God, do I never want to edit MIDI on a screen like this? It's the same deal with like stuff like the MPC Live, MPC One. I have no desire at all to, first of all, I don't even know where to begin because like there's so many knobs where obviously we can change the start point. That's, I guess, fine. We can change the position of the playhead, I guess. But man, do I never want to like finagle with this to like edit notes. Again, this is something that is way easier. And I'm going to move you over here and I'm going to move you over here. 100 times easier if I need to move a note around to click on it and move it around. This is not a workflow I need on the actual machine itself. I never edit on MPC. I just hit undo and do it again. Yes, I could see that for sure. MPC screen takes a lot of patience and the undo button. Well, this speaks to the broader issue, right? The issue being that if you're not going to be a DAW, then do something different than a DAW does. Do something more convenient than a DAW does it. What all of these devices do is they get so close to almost being a full DAW, fumble the ball hard, where that it's like now it's just like inconvenient, right? And I don't want this to be like an all complaining stream, but that is my major criticism of all of these devices. After working with Maschine Plus for a while, events editing is actually not that bad. Yeah, but see, even think about the way you framed that, Huggy Beats. It's not that bad. Wouldn't it be great if it was great? Wouldn't it be great if you were like, events editing is great. It's easy. It's fantastic. It puts me in a flow. Wouldn't that be great? Just saying. So anyway, I'm back to the software now because I've like kind of hit this limitation of what are we doing on the hardware. Here's another criticism of the hardware devices. A lot of hardware does this, but Maschine is especially guilty of this. To do anything, you need to hold a combination of keys. It's like playing Twister with the device. You need to hold shift. You need to hit pattern, you need to hold shift, you need to hit double. Like you have to remember, it's like playing a fighting game. It's like playing Tekken. It's like you have to remember the combos. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, how many buttons are on this thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 right up here, 8 here, 9, 10. Another 8 down here, that's 18. So many buttons on the thing. Why does half of the time I have to do some combination of buttons? Like if there are things that we're doing all the time, it should just be one button. So why do some of these buttons... I don't know. I can see the design challenge here, but it does seem like I don't want to have to memorize cheat codes to use my musical device. I think I used to play trumpet. Trumpet has 3 valves. You can accomplish a lot with just those 3 valves. I hate that too. I have to combo buttons to do stuff. Yes. Tekken 3, Besto Tekken. Okay. When you press that button to switch to that screen, instead of holding the button, you can press the top white button on top. Right. So it's like pinning it, right? So, but again, that is another button combination, right? That is like, I still need 2 hands to do this. It takes twice as long. It's not super intuitive. You know? If you understand the fundamentals of every DAW, it comes naturally. Well, I very much understand the fundamentals of DAWs and music technology, and a lot of the stuff on the machine does not come fundamentally. Does not come naturally. I wish I could just use it with my regular DAW of choice, to be honest. Well, you can, and I will talk about one big reason I don't do that. But let's just continue on. Let's try to make some cool stuff. I'm tired of just like, I don't want to just be shitting on the thing, you know? So there's a number of ways that we can edit this pattern that we're in now. Let's hit play and get back to jamming. We've got an erase button. So for this pattern, let's just get rid of all the kicks. It's going through the pattern and erasing them as I hold that down. So then, of course, we have a pattern with kick and without kick, right? Wasn't analog gear as complex, if not more? I think the limitations of older analog gear actually it plays into the favor of like back when MPCs were a little bit more retro. I think that's why people still love their machines that are not the latest ones, because they have their limitations. It's like, okay, we have to work within these limitations. So now what has happened is because this thing is connected to the computer, it has infinite more possibilities, infinite more layers of complication, etc. They fall short to being a DAW. Yes, Felipe has that right. And I was surprised because well, let's do this as an activity together, chat. What makes machine software not a DAW? Is it not a DAW, or is it just a poorly designed DAW? That is my question to you. I don't think it's fair to say... I think that's a little bit of a cop-out to say that it's not a DAW. I think it's not a DAW. It's a poorly designed DAW. Because, okay, we can do scenes. I love that. Great. We can have different scenes, do different things, different patterns. I can make this into a song now. Not completely obvious. It's not completely obvious how to do that, right? Go here, maybe? No? And all that is to say, if it's not meant to be a DAW, then it shouldn't be a DAW. It should focus on the performance aspect of it and the beat making aspect of it. Like the beat performance aspect, I guess, is the thing it should focus on. Modern quality DAW alternative. It's a DAW alternative. Okay, I guess you could say that. It's a placeholder for when you aren't finalizing it for later in Ableton and Pro Tools. Yeah, but this is a big problem, right? If I can do everything, if I can load up all my instruments in this software, if I can make all my musical ideas in this software, the fact that I have to go somewhere else to finish it, doesn't that just compel you even more to just not even start working in this and start working in an environment where you can do everything from A to Z, not get from A to, you know, even X, but then, oh, for YZ, I got to open up another program. And I do want to recontextual, like put this in the context of, you have people like Datsun. Let's bring up Datsun, like a video by Datsun, who's doing super cool stuff. Oh, that is the name of a car. Let me just quickly bring his stuff up. 13 days ago, where he's like working, he's putting in work, like doing awesome things. I mean, from a pro user perspective, he's the one. So what that tells me is that there is a context where for some people this works. However, I think for the majority of people, it probably doesn't, for a lot of reasons. Again, I think it works for people like Datsun in spite of its flaws, not because. Bishop, important point here. In my opinion, it's more of an instrument than a DAW, and instead focuses on the creation and not post-production. That just brings me back to the point of, isn't that frustrating though? Like, to call it a Groovebox, right? Let me grab this for a second. Can't reach it. To call it a Groovebox, this is a Groovebox. Here's a Groovebox, Novation circuit. Novation circuit. You don't have to plug it into a computer. It's got a synth engine. You can load samples onto it. You can sequence on it. You can make a song on this thing only with what's within this thing. This is not a Groovebox, in my opinion. This is a MIDI controller that controls very, very well. It controls its software very well, even though I don't think the software is designed very well. If the device that this thing has to be connected to, my MacBook, holds two things, it holds Ableton Live and Maschine. If I'm like, let me sit down and work on a piece of music, a complex mouse, I like that take, Daryl Howard. A complex mouse, sure. The negative is that the gap is unnecessary. Thank you, Jeremy, for articulating that better than I could. I sit down with this thing, I know its limitations. I know what it's capable of. I work with it. I don't, of course, there's room for feedback, but like, it is what it is. This is a thing that is connected to a computer that is capable of running full software. Is the Maschine Plus still only a MIDI controller in theory? No, because it has its own built-in sounds. However, the Maschine Plus and stuff like the MPC Live are more than just Grooveboxes. Wouldn't you agree? They are poorly designed DAWs in a portable box. I think that's the conclusion that I've come to today. So just use the Maschine Plus. Well, the Maschine Plus has all the same design problems as the Maschine software, right? It's not the same thing as a Groovebox. The closer you get to a DAW experience, I think there's a line. I don't know where the line exactly is. Groovebox over here, fully fledged digital audio workstation over here. At some point, these devices cross that line. That's my theory here. Once you cross that line, the standards are much higher. can use it as a VST plugin in your DAW as well. All right, you want me to demonstrate why I don't use Maschine as a plugin? Let's see if my theory of what actually happens still happens. We're going to discard that project. We're going to open up Ableton Live because this was my solution, right? Okay, I love the conveniences of Maschine. I love using it even as a performance tool, but I can't finish the tracks in it. I can't get from A to Z in it. So let me just open it up from within Ableton Live, right? Let's do that. Let's do that right now. Plugins, Native Instruments, VST3, that's fine. I'm sure there's going to be some compatibility issue, perhaps. Cool. So now we've opened it up as a plugin within Ableton Live, and the controller is going to work all the same. Let's open up another kit. Again, I went to just doing this with the mouse, so I'm just going to embrace that. Crate cuts was recommended. Let's listen to these. Ooh, that's nice. Let's load that. We don't have Reactor installed. Again, another. Ooh. All right. That's like, see, this is, we're back to, I've swung in the other direction now. Okay, I love that. Let's go to fixed velocity just for the moment. Let's record this. We got to set the tempo though, which we can't do, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we can't do that because we are in Ableton Live. Okay, that's fine. Let's tap 1, 2, 3, 4. If you hit pad mode, you can put a choke on those samples. Right. Let's go ahead and assign those each to choke mode, to choke group 1. All right, fantastic. Let's go ahead and record this now. Can we do it with the count in? I don't think we can in this mode. However, we can double the length of this pattern to be 4 bars. I want the metronome on. All right, let's stop that. I can't stop it because the DAW is running. So you can all see what's happening. DAW is running, so like some of these controls like don't exactly work the way you would think they would. So there is this kind of like, there is that friction there. But still, that's not the reason I don't use it in Ableton Live. Here we go. We're gonna record. And that first hit did not record because I wasn't able to do it with count in. So let's just replace that. Good, we've recorded that in. I'm going to turn record off for a second. Okay, yeah, and I kind of messed up there, right? So we should hit undo, right, chat? I messed up there. We should hit undo because I want to undo the last thing that I just did, right? Command Z. Oh, well, Command Z didn't undo what I just did in Maschine. It undid the tempo change. And then, in fact, if I hit Command Z again, it's going to do that tempo change again. If I hit it one more time, What do you know? Machine is gone. So the undo history that you're like so easy, like of course we could have hit the undo on the controller. You could learn to do that. But if you just quickly hit Command Z, you are sometimes one step away from, oh, and by the way, all right, let's get rid of that. Undo the insert device, redo it. You can't redo it. You can't redo it and get the thing that you just worked on. So like undo machine, you could hit Shift undo and just work with a machine like that. But as you can see, there was enough friction there for it to like just not even be convenient to have this running in Ableton Live, where it's like you're one step away. So one time I did that. That is the real reason why I think the last time I put down machine was because of that. I was working on something. It's like, all right, let me give it a try. Load it up as a plugin in Live. Had worked on this thing for probably 10 minutes or more, and then hit undo, and then I hadn't done any tempo changes, so the first undo was actually, oh, it's gone. It's crazy. I think the bummer with machine is that it markets itself as a controller. You don't need to look at the computer, but as TAETRO says, it's more time effective to use the mouse and computer screen. Correct. What about Electron? Do you like those Digitac? I haven't used the Digitac. I have a Model Cycles. It's like a design challenge in the field, right? And the solution that everybody is landing on, whether you're Native Instruments, whether you're Electron, Novation is probably the best at it because they keep it simple. The solution everybody lands on is you have to hold Shift and this one and this one and this one and this one, and then you can get into that mode, which like obviously that's an exaggeration. That's not a real thing. But like that's the solution everybody lands on. We're going to make these boxes. We're going to give them a set number of buttons, a set number of knobs. But to do any of the things that you want to do, you have to use 5 fingers on one hand. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So obviously we're going to bail on Ableton Live there because I don't think that they play well together. Let's load up machine again. And let's go back to a positive note. Positive note with 2 sides of this coin actually though. So we've got this kit, right? We've got this kit system where we can browse, and the expansions like are great. They put a lot of thought into these expansions. They all have some type of problem, of course. So from this perspective, this is better than Ableton Live because Native Instruments pays attention to genres, popular contemporary music, and realizes that their users want to make popular contemporary music. And I'm not saying they only make like a certain kind of music, because you have like legacy electronic music like techno and things expansions. You have pop expansions. You have like lo-fi expansions, chill hop, hip hop. But they do at least pay attention to those contemporary genres. Ableton does not care about contemporary genres. Ableton says, I'm too cool for that, so I'm only going to give you this selection of sounds. So Native Instruments paying attention to that, to trends and what the music that people actually want to make is super great. I commend them for that. So as you can hear in the previews for all these, they're kind of beautiful, right? Let's set our tempo to 75. Again, I can do that with just this. Change the tempo. 2, 3, 4. Where's that sound? Am I insane? So what happened there, chat? Machine heads, you got to come through. Defend your software. The sample on it says, which I can't read the full name of, and every time I try to hover over it, these tiny ass knobs, probably designed by somebody in Berlin, pop up. It gets smaller. Get off the browser. It's in browser preview mode. Are you sure? I don't understand what I did to make it work. What are you saying, chat? What are you saying? It's not playing, and this is working. I hit play, it's suddenly not working. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. This one works, this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work. What's wrong? What's wrong? Andre Dow. What's up, Andre? Andre in the chat. Andre, today we're not teaching, today we're just complaining. You know how it is. It's in audio mode. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's in audio instead of sample. What do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? Make it make sense, chat. I hear you. I fully understand that I'm doing something wrong, but what I'm not understanding is why there's a step in between this. If you just double click in the MIDI roll, you can see it's just a loop. I understand that it's just a loop. I hit play. I can't understand. You guys have to help me. You have to help me. To be clear, I'm doing this. It works. I hit play, and that no longer works. Am I dumb? Ask me if I'm dumb. Tell me if I'm dumb, not ask me if I'm dumb. I am dumb. No, it's not the fact that it's in gate mode. I'm holding it down. It's not playing through. It will trigger the hell is that? Okay, I understand what has happened here. So you have to click the MIDI note in. But what if I was recording a performance? I don't understand. This is a performance controller. You have to read the manual, bro. No, there's certain things that you should not have to read the manual for. There's certain basic functions. If I was like, how do I do something super complex? So double click in the software. Here you go. I've double clicked in the software. Chat, how is this different? I'm not trying to be insane here. Okay, let's just do this differently. Blah, blah, blah. You don't have massive. So here, we have a kit, right? Now I can play that kit when it's playing. Okay, so what was that other kit that we were in? Nostalgia kit? Tell me why it's not the same function. It doesn't make sense. Shift browser. Somebody said shift browser, okay? Different kits use different pieces. For instance, you hold the pad, it'll play the loop continuously. You're wrong. I'm holding the pad. Isaiah. I mean, wanting to understand a complex feature without reading the manual is a pretty bold request. This is not a complex feature. When I push this button, a sound plays. Stay with me. I understand that it is more complex, and that's why it's not working. But why is it more complex is the point that I'm making. Why is it more complex? Like every other kit loads with some melodic one-shots, or these could be anything, right? These are samples. And they work. To have a function that kind of fundamentally breaks the logic of that, and that works here, but doesn't work as soon as I hit the play button, is a hang-up. Change to sample mode in the right corner on the 8th knob. This is the 8th knob. So, okay, I'm going to read what Bishop said because Bishop's an expert. If you want to perform it, you can change it to gate mode instead, or you can use sampler rather than audio. Audio is more for looping than performing. So why would a sample like this be in audio mode? So I'll click on the sample. It says loop. Should it be on gate? Play. So why would I want that? Help me understand, chat. Hello, Amelia. I'm so glad you made it today. I need to see what's going on outside I think Native Instruments is performing a SEAL Team 6 style raid on my house right now. No, they're not. Trust me, Maschine uses a lot of Shift plus, etc. and other features. I wasn't trying to be a smartass. I literally mean you either have to read the manual or watch a video because it will drive you nuts. Yeah, no, and I am all about like, hey, if you want to learn to do something, you should read the manual. I also don't think that certain things are manual worthy. Like I think that fundamentally this should not be different than all the other kits. Okay, I'm not going to harp on that too long. That's fun. Hi, right now your instrument is audio. You need to change the instrument to sampler. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. All right, so chat, tell me, what's the advantage to this? This visual representation in the software is cool, I guess. I don't know why like designers in Berlin, or maybe this is everywhere, that make music software like to make everything tiny, but I guess it's cool. Jesus. Okay, so I put that in there. Imagine having to read the manual to record a performance. Exactly. Loop stems, honestly. All right, we're like stun locked on this. At the end of the day, I think it's all you would have to do. All this needs to be, it's a sample. It's a sample. It gives us the BPM, even though I can't read the goddamn title of the sample because holy shit, these knobs are here for no reason. Yeah, great. That's what I really want to do. I really want to change like what is this? Probably like panning or something. Really want those tiny ass freaking knobs there instead of being able to expand this and read the full name of a sample so that I can see what the BPM and the key of it are. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And don't tell me I'm crazy because I know that there's probably a way to do it. There's probably a way for me to see the whole name. You're right. I can hit that sample button. But the fact that every other piece of software works one way. Oh my God. Which expansion pack is it? It is Crate Cuts, which, you know, for the most part, sounds great. I love that. All right, so let me spiral out of control even more. Even though I'm commending Native Instruments on their sound selection, don't we feel like loading up one of these kits, like it's a song that's already made? It's like why I would not use this to make a song. Like I wouldn't make a song that goes like this. Like the song's already written, you know what I mean? So what's to stop every other producer from just like loading up this kit and writing the same exact song? But I do agree it's an easy way to jump in and get some inspiration. But it's a little bit like using a splice loop where it's like you can use a splice loop at your own discretion or take a splice loop and make it your own, right? Like totally flip it and make it different. We got another audio thing here, which is just like insane. I do see that there is a difference between audio and sampler. However, I do not believe that there should be a difference. I don't see the convenience. I don't think that it is. I think it's overcomplicated. If you're going to use a software for a sampling / beat making machine, what's the point? Well, this doesn't actually work without software. It's for stretching, etc. as well. Sure, but why doesn't this sampler have any type of time stretching and warping? Not only that, but why when I click on sampler, what's something that I would want to change about a sound? Like let's find a hi-hat sound. What would I want to change? Is the first thing that I might want to change about this hi-hat sound the polyphony? No. Is it the pitch bend? No. The mode? Probably not. I probably want to adjust something like the pitch. Start point? Maybe. How do I even see this waveform, by the way? I think it's in the other page. Press right arrows on the top left. You're killing me. Yes, exactly. I gotta page through it to find the things that I want. I get it. This is just a mind-boggling. Oh, sorry guys. I'm not showing you the software. So basically for any sample, drum samples, we're looking at voice settings, polyphony, pitch bend, and the mode. If I want to change the very basic functions, I have to go into a menu. Like I have to click into it. So if you're a musician, let's say a company brings you in. You're a musician. You're like, okay, build a drum kit. You start building the drum kit, or they give you a drum kit. Here's a drum kit. What do you need to be able to do with that drum kit? Well, I need to be able to tune the kick. How do I tune the kick? Oh, I have to click into a menu. I have to click over here, and then I have to click over here. Bobby Lime says, God, I love Koala Sampler. That's the thing, man. And I'm not just like trying to overpraise like something like Koala Sampler, but that's the thing, is that other people are making music making software with the user in mind. Like BandLab, for instance, their mission, like making stuff super approachable. So they have to like if it's a free DAW anybody can use, and their mission is to get so many people making music, it has to be approachable. Ableton, Native Instruments, they don't necessarily see the need to care as much about that. Great. So I'd want to change the pitch. I'd want to change the envelope. Where's my ADSR envelope? Bishop. Filter and tuning, but it's on other pages, right? So not only that, but we have to go between pages. And then I go to filter. I've got to select a low pass or a band pass or a high pass filter instead of it just showing me like a graphic EQ. Just left and right on the controller. It's pretty intuitive. Well, okay. It's intuitive that to get to these things, I have to press the arrow keys. What is not intuitive is that when I open, the first thing I see when I'm playing the kick drum is polyphony, pitch bend, and the engine mode. I have to push a button to change it. So let's say like for 5 different drums, I have to do that 5 times. I'll go to this one, page over, change the tuning. This one, page over. There's just too many steps. There's like nobody thought about what's the first thing you want to do. And I'm not even saying that it has to be like a whole graphic EQ here for this filter, but at least like, it's fine. It's whatever. Low pass, band pass, high pass. I don't know why it says low pass 2, band pass 2, high pass 2. I don't know why there's a 2 there. Just weird. This could easily fit on one page. Correct. Because on the first page, this is the thing. We have 8 knobs here. And the first thing we have is a page that utilizes 3 out of the 8 knobs. It's insane. It's insane. So I ask you, again, is Maschine a Groovebox or a poorly designed DAW? Okay, anyway. So yeah, back to my point there of like, hey, these kits are cool and super inspirational and I love to just load them up. And you know, if I post a video, just literally playing one of these kits, that people will love it and it will pop off. However, you could just go load up that. I didn't make this beat. You could just go load up the same kit, do the exact same thing. I don't think I own this beat. I don't think you own this beat. I think like Native Instruments owns this beat essentially. So, okay, you're saying, well, TAETRO, that's because you need to be more creative and you need to make these loops your own, which is of course what I would do if I downloaded a splice loop that I liked. I would transform it somehow. That is an interesting proposition. However, it is again made more difficult by the software. This piano chop is across 4 pads. So I would say my instinct would be to start to add effects, maybe change the pitch, make it a little more lo-fi. We're going to go ahead and add some tape mellow. If you look at sounds in the browser, you can use the sampled instruments in keyboard mode. Add another group and do that. If I look at sounds, and I of course know where sounds is. It's here. Right. So we can load up all these instruments, I guess is your point there, right? Great. Okay, we can load it up as an instrument. That's fine. But I want to go back to this idea that we should be able to use these loops and stuff that they've made and make them our own. But so now I've made this one sound a little more unique by detuning it. Holy crap, what is this? But what are these pages, bro? But okay, so I've hit a wall again. Help me out, chat. I've hit a wall. I have now lost the page. Okay, we're back in it. But now, no, I don't actually understand. Why does this now look like this? Ah, because we're not on the sampler settings. That's fine. That one is me just getting confused in user error. That's fine. So now I have to go do this with each one of these samples, right? If I want each one of them down 3 semitones, I have to do that. That's fine. I think that's kind of typical. I do also have to go add the tape plugin on each one of these, right? Is there no way to group them together? There's not an immediately apparent way to do it. Click on group. Yeah, well, I understand that. But this group includes all my drum sounds, right? So if I add something to the group, I'm not, like, obviously I want to process my melodic sounds different from my rhythmic sounds. So I guess the solution to that would be that I would duplicate this group. See how many buttons I have to push to accomplish that? Okay, we've done that. So I guess just click on group. You can reroute the drums to another group. What are you talking about? I can reroute the drums to another group. Tell me. Yeah, so I could, my solution would be, okay, duplicate it. I would edit the sounds in this group. This would be for my melodic chops, and then group 1 would be for my drums. However, doesn't that take away the whole magic of Maschine if now I can't play them all on one grid? So now we're getting back into the DAW territory where it's like, I need multiple tracks to be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish. So now the advantage of this, what made it nice and special, is now gone because I want to just transform these sounds that they've given me. They want you to stay locked in their ecosystem so you buy more expansions, or even better for them, their subscription. Well, I won't be so cynical to say that, but I do believe they do. The mindset is that you will stay in the Maschine ecosystem, and anything you try to do that kind of deviates from that is super difficult. All right, Bishop91 putting in work today. Press the channel MIDI on Maschine in the top left. What is this, like something you can only do like via the hardware? Hi, Accurate Beats. Accurate Beats. Accurate Beats, another crazy person who loves MPC and Maschine, I think. Not crazy person, but I say this because some people love this stuff. All right, so what did I do? I hit the channel MIDI on the top of the button. I will see output. You'll see a destination. You can change it depending if sound or group is highlighted first. All right, so let's do the individual sound. I think that's what we're going for. And the destination would be a different destination. So what you're saying is to make this work, and I'm not going to do all that because that is insane that I would ever do that. in my actual workflow. But thank you for explaining that, Bishop. So what you're saying is, back to the hardware, if I want to take these chops and I want to edit them so that they're more my own, they're not just like these pre-made loops that I'm jumping into using. If I want to do that, I can do that, but I need to completely route the specific sounds to go to specific places. Well, you would normally, so there it is. Well, you would normally just create a new group separate from your drums. This is more for your performance-based beats. Right, exactly. So if I'm trying to make beats, I'm either kind of locked into this, what they've made for me already. Let's go ahead and add a group. So again, I keep coming back to the thing of I load up one of these kits, I feel inspired, I feel excited to be making beats. However, I quickly come to the realization that I didn't make this music. Is that fair? And then the steps to make it my own are kind of like outside the bounds of what I'm even using Maschine for. So like if you're right, if what you say is right, Bishop and others have said this too, and this was my immediate reaction, was what you would do then is you would separate the melodic stuff from the drum stuff by making different groups. Now I can no longer perform this. I have to do a bunch of like resampling to get it back into one kit together. Fair, but editing the sounds isn't that complicated. I don't think that it's necessarily complicated. And now what have you done here? Sound. I agree with you that it's not that complicated, accurate. However, since it's chops, I can't just say, well, wouldn't it be fantastic if I was like, I want to quickly, there should be a button for this. This chop, this chop, this chop, this chop. These are all one group. I would like to edit the effects on just these chops. There doesn't seem to be an immediate way to do that. Like, wouldn't it be fantastic if I could like hold control, select each one of these, like any normal software might have. Could hold shift or control and just select multiple and then do the tuning for all of them. Does it work? Oh my God, that does work. That's fantastic. Unexpected W. However, oh wait, will this work too? Am I going to eat my words? I hope so. No, that didn't work, but that would be great if it did. Because the next step of that is you're going to add a bunch of effects, right? You're going to add like reverb. Let's go ahead and let's add fragments to that and just see what crazy stuff happens. By the way, how do I just open up there we go. That's what I wanted. Reverses, responsive reverses. Great. So now we're getting into like, okay, I'm transforming the sound. So now I'm a little more... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Stop. So then, my point is to get that effect on this chop requires me to do all that work 3 more times. And I'm not saying all that work like it's so much work. I'm just saying that that is a very clear pitfall of this workflow. Easier to open in battery 4, then you can do everything. Great. So I have to open up another Native Instruments thing to get the Native Instruments thing to work. Shift plus mute on the controller. That's what I was looking for. I knew that existed. Shift. I knew I would have to press 5 buttons at the same time to make something happen. Of course. This could also be a performance technique. That's super smart, Bishop. That was a good neck crack. So I don't know, chat. I actually, when I started today's stream, or before I started today's stream, I intended to actually make some beats with the machine and not be as critical. But what you're seeing in real time is sort of my frustration. What I imagine is a frustration for many. Hey, Mark, I'm not answering your question because that's not what we're talking about right now. You've asked it 5 times or more in chat. Go watch a MIDI controller video, bro. So, chat, I guess here's what I want to hear from you. Why am I wrong? Why is machine great? Challenge me. Please challenge me. I don't want to just be like, this is annoying. It's not good for my workflow. Tell me what you love about it, etc. I want to hear I want to hear the positivity in the chat, because I know that a lot of people use it very well. We've talked about some of them today. What am I missing? And again, people will pop into this chat. If you just popped in now like Stybender did, you're probably like, wow, this sounds really cool. And for me, I'm like, but I didn't make this music. This isn't a TAETRO beat. Gordon Hall says, it's easy for me to sketch out an idea really quickly. Sure. Yes, Red Pill, it sounds good, but not as a result of my creativity, not as a result of my creative idea. It sounds good because Native Instruments did a good job assembling pre-made musical ideas. Isn't that your choice, though? Isn't what is your choice? You can load in your own sounds and create your own patterns. Completely agree. Let's start from this point of view. Let's load up a fresh group. So these are all one-shot samples specifically. All right, so let's attempt this workflow. I've now found a sound. Let's drop it on sound 1. This has now given us that dreaded audio version, but what if I wanted it to be a sampler? Actually, let me Control Z this. Let me fumble through this for a second. Let's load up sampler. Now, where I come from, a sampler holds audio. Where is the audio that this sampler is holding? Obviously, it's not holding any audio because we haven't put any in it, but let's say I wanted to. Okay, that's easy enough. And then people are suggesting, well, chop up the sample. So let's try that. Go to the sampling menu. I'm sorry, guys. I can't with the button combos and the go to this page to do that. Why not use the hardware? It's quicker. Okay. I hear you. It's quicker. I have this sound loaded. Type one shot AHD. I guess that just gives it. Okay, there's ADSR. Okay, but it's a one shot now. What did I do? Chat. Wait. Okay. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I see the solution. I understand what's happening. But it is a little crazy, right? It is a little crazy, no? Yeah, so I have to change the polyphony, which means like I have to go into another page, right? Like I have to go to like sound. The thing I complained about earlier, I'm on the wrong page, so I guess I do want to change the polyphony. TAETRO slowly descending into insanity. Yes. We should actually talk about this for real sometime. Well, Accurate, I want to hear... I just want this, Accurate. I want you to give me your honest take here. Am I just being like nitpicky? Am I just like not fully understanding the software, which full well, I'm not an expert in machine. Do you feel that some of this workflow and stuff is just insane? Like, I think some of it is insane that it was designed in this way. And like Ableton is not perfect either. Like there's like, I also criticize Ableton as well. I tweeted out a while ago that it's like teaching somebody Ableton is so difficult because you have to be like, oh, click in that gray space. Oh, no, not there. Like 1 millimeter above that. Oh, and a little bit to the left. And you have to like click in the exact space to get the magnifying glass to show up to like whatever. Accurate Beat says, I couldn't disagree more. Okay. I'm just insane. I will continue to feel insane, and that's fine. Some valid points, but you have to acknowledge different types of users. 100%. I do. I think I've been trying to do that throughout today's stream and reference people like Accurate, like Datsun, like Sarah, who are freaking pro users of this thing. You're just too focused on the software. What am I supposed to be focused on? I just want to make some music. I want to take this sample and I want to chop it across the pads. Okay, chat? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Forget about the software 100%, says Accurate. Okay. So you're saying what you mean by that is don't look on the screen. I'm just going to look at the hardware now. You got it. All right. I'm in the sampling mode. That makes sense. I'm in slice. Oh my God, we might do it. Oh my God, we did it. Now what do I do? Now hit apply. Where's apply? I'm not looking at the screen. I'm looking for the word apply. Right there. Whew. Uh-oh. But this is blinking now. This is blinking and it doesn't make sound now. Now I have to click OK. It's not making sounds. I have to be in pad mode. Where did my chops go? Bro, that's insane. You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me what's happening. I recorded on accident too. Stop. You cannot tell me that this is a well-designed workflow situation. How could I have possibly... Let's do it again. This is like the main, like a main function of beat making software is chopping samples. Let's try it again, chat. Okay, I'm not touching the computer. I forgot. but I made a new group. I'm going to go into browser. I see the chat running. I'm not looking at you for a second. I'm going to choose this sample. I have loaded this sample. It's here. Fantastic. Now it's audio, but if I hit sampling, I'll be in a sampling mode. Stop. Now I'm in sampling mode. I want to go to edit. No. Now I can't even find the slice mode, to be honest. It's because I'm not in sampler. So I have to somehow make this in sampler mode. I'm going to make a new group. We're going to try this again. Okay, so you're saying don't touch the software, but I can't not touch the software because I have to load up a sampler, and it's not clear how to do that here. Actually, you know what? One more shot on that. If I hit plugin, add sampler. Okay, I got it. I don't know why it says plugin there. The sampler is not a plugin. The sampler is part of the DAW or the software. Okay, so now I'm going to go to browser. I'm going to find this loop again. I am going to push this button and it's going to be loaded in the sampler. Now I'm going to go to the sampling mode and we have slice there at the top. Whew, whew. Okay, it's making sense. It's clicking. Okay, but I already messed up. So we can just try that again, right? Okay. That was a bad job. Undo. Okay, that actually worked intuitively, except for the fact that I undid the wrong thing. All right, here we go. That was bad. Oh, that's actually cool. So I can actually do this, and I should be able to... Nope. I should be able to whatever chop I'm on. Right, chat? This is a logical thing for me to want to do, is change the stop, right? This is a thing. I should be able to change the start and end points of these chops, right? After I apply. So right arrow for, of course it's on another page. Why? Okay, this is the same issue again. They did not think about what is the first thing you want to be doing in sample chopping. That was the same thing before with editing a sound, right? So this is like clearly like a design philosophy, like systemic problem at Native Instruments. I should not have to be going into other pages to be doing something as simple as changing the start point. Like that should be the first thing. Am I wrong, chat? Check me on that. Otherwise, this is starting to make sense. Accurate is telling me he doesn't use slice mode at all. If slicing samples is not like a thing that you're supposed to be doing in Maschine, I don't understand. Okay, chat. Now let's try this again. I did these chops. Let's pretend that they're perfect and exactly how I want them. I would assume that I have to hit apply. Okay. Now this light is flashing. So the next step, right? Let's walk through this. Pretend we're not using Maschine. Pretend we're coming up with the best new music device, and it's you can chop samples on it, and it has pads. You are in a group. The group holds a sampler. You've just chopped the sample in that sampler. You now want those chops to be represented by the pads in that group. You finish your chops, you hit apply. What do you expect to happen after you hit apply? Because what I expect to happen as a user is that now I can immediately play those synth chops across the pads. There is unfortunately some other step here. Apply, pick a group. I'm in the group. What do you mean? The sampler's in the group. Oh, I have to hit apply and hit OK. Hit a group? It's already purple. Purple means G. We're in group G. I'm hitting OK. Don't hit OK? Chat. That's insane. Hit a blank group. Okay, let's unpack this. I hear you. I hear you. The pads are purple. Purple corresponds to group G. The sampler is in group G. Why do I have to tell the software what group I want the sampler that's already on group G to be in? I'm going to hit G. Hit H. Hit group H. I have to make a new group. Is there a small chance TAETRO is trolling us? I'm not trolling you. I'm just saying, like, this is not intuitive. No, if he just OK and then keyboard mode, he's got it all on one pad like he wants. Only if you... The sampler you're in right now is group G, pad 1. Got it. I hear you. So now what I want is these pads to... That's actually an insane concept to wrap my head around. I want to play these chops across the pads. So the sampler is not in the group yet. I'm going to hit H. And I'm going to hit OK. And we're going to see what happens. That was like defusing a bomb. I just feel like at any point in using this, there is a chance that at any point, you are one button press away from destroying what you just did. From like having to do a bunch of work again, you know? Whew. So now, five hours later, no music made. Now you just need to learn it. I disagree. Well, I agree 100% that anybody can learn anything, right? That doesn't mean that that because you can learn it and you can learn how it works, that doesn't mean that it's designed well. That's not a good design process. That whole process is absolutely horrible. Insane process to chop a sample. So I agree that there are times when I'll say, oh, I just need to learn that. Like, oh, how do I load a sampler from the hardware? I need to go to plugin. Oh, because obviously the word should be plugin to load a built-in instrument. I learned that. Okay, I learned that function. That process, what we just did of chopping a sample like that, that's a poorly designed process. Ready to try another way to chop a sample? Yes. Yes. Is this a fun stream like activity where we can all so I used to think, let me say this, chat. I generally like to come on stream and know what I'm doing and know what I'm talking about. But what seems to be happening here is that you all seem to be enjoying me not knowing what I'm talking about or doing. So but what Accurate is telling me in chat is that there's another way to chop samples and that he never uses that way. Now, that's crazy. All right, first of all, this is good. That I realized what Accurate was saying before about this being non-destructive, because now that these chops are here, I can now still go and edit them. So I understand that. That's cool. I'm trying to breathe. I'm going to drink some water. Thank you all for hanging out today. Even though it's frustrating, it's fun. Right? It's a blind run. Exactly. It's a blind run. DNA Tez says, my machine gear is collecting dust and is there for looks. Very disappointing. So I think that is the ultimate thing that makes me passionate about this. Because I very much imagine the process and the perspective of the beginner, of the person who just bought a piece of gear. The act of making music should be fun. It should be like creatively inspiring. Like it should be a process of flow, right? Like when I paint, I grab my paints, I grab my brush, I grab the paper, and now I can paint. Sure, there's like technique involved, but like it's that simple, right? But what the comment above said about how the machine is just sitting there for them and they don't use it, there's probably thousands more people with the same experience that are like, okay, I want to make a beat, but then they hit a roadblock of bad design and now they're no longer making music anymore because they've been derailed because of bad design. Is part of it people need to take some time and learn some stuff? Yes, I think that is part of it. But I also think it's so important to have good design in the software and the hardware so that people can stay on board for as much as they can, for as long as they can, and they can be as successful as they can possibly be. You shouldn't have to be like an airplane mechanic to make music, right? I get that there are more advanced things that, like even some of the things we talk about on this channel that are more advanced, that require more experience, but some of the basic functions here I don't think should require a manual. They should be slightly more intuitive. All right, listen to this. Load a sample on a pad. Well, I'm going to need another group, but I've used up all my groups. So I'm going to delete some group. And I assume I can delete by hitting erase in the group. Now I say assume because I assume, but obviously not. If erase is the delete button, I would assume I would be able to hold delete and delete a group. Hit shift, go to another bank. Oh, okay. I have to hold shift, erase, group. Did that work? That did work. Because of course I have to hold 3 buttons to do that. I don't think DAWs and making music is intuitive at all for beginners. Some are more intuitive than others. Well, making music, like if you reduce it to like if you sat at a piano and you only played the white keys, even if you knew nothing about music, you could start to hear things that sound good or not good. Shift is your friend, yes, but isn't that a design flaw as well? If we have to hold shift every time we have to do something, then what's the point of even having single buttons? Okay, I'm going back up. Thank you, thank you everybody, first of all, for just like being helpful. I know there's a lot of machine heads in the chat. I'm trying to be fair with my criticism. All right, load a sample on a pad, which means I have to go to the browser. I'm going to go here. Let's load a loop, right? So, okay, I've loaded a sample on a pad. Chat, you saw it. Did everybody see that? Then just duplicate it. Then just duplicate it to another pad and adjust new start and endpoints over and over again. Makes perfect sense. Okay, I see where you're going here. That doesn't seem difficult. Duplicate here, here, here. Now we have 4 of the exact same thing. Okay. Cancel. I don't know what those buttons do. There's a start button. What does the start button do? What does it do, chat? So there's a start and delete button. There's record. There's an edit button. I definitely want to edit it. Okay. Okay, this is faster already. Let's find another chop here. All right, I could see that being a little faster. Do you think that that's the intended way that you're supposed to work with it? It will stretch. You're saying it will stretch them, though. What do you mean by it will stretch them, though? It's a way. If you pitch them in that pad menu. If you pitch them in that pad menu. Let's add them all to a choke group. I didn't really see, though, what's interesting, though, is like, okay, so now what are the things that I would like to be able to do with these samples? One thing I would like to do is to make them be not in gate mode. I'd love to put them in one-shot mode. It's crazy. It's crazy. Mode loop gate. I guess we're back to that audio problem again, where I don't understand why there's a difference between audio and gate. It's fine. I am dwindling fast, chat. It's speedy. Okay, so we chopped the sample fast. I agree. But now I want to do literally anything else. Tuning. I think I was told that there's a faster way to tune the group. So okay, I hear you. I go on sound and there's a tuning option. I go to group, there's not a tuning option. The big knob. That's changing my BPM. Oh, what? Why did that even work? I turn this knob when I'm not touching anything, and it changes the tempo. But if I hold the sound down, it changes the tuning. It did not, however, change the tuning for the whole group. Hold the group. I guess that does make sense now that I know about this mechanic. Group tune. All right, accurate. Hear me out. Hear me out here. When I go to sound, it makes sense that I would like to edit the sound. I would like to edit the tuning for the sound, the length, the whatever, the mode. When I go to group, 8 knobs not being used. 0 things on the display. Instead, the way I have to tune this group is to know that I have to hold shift, that I have to hold down the group and turn this knob. It's hidden. The sound is the pad. The group is the channel. I'm here for you. I hear you. I hear you. You can't say, oh, you just have to learn this when this is bad design. Once again, this is bad design. When I go to this group page, I want all the things that I can edit about this group. So group tune, what do you mean? Group is an empty. What do you mean? This is the group, right? The group is this collection of pads, right? So again, we're back to this insane design philosophy where to do anything, you have to memorize some shift combination. That's not, what did I even just do? So even just there, what I just did was I held shift and touched a pad and it like put it back to its original tuning or something. No, that's not true. I think I just turned that off while I was ranting. What do you want to do with the group that's not there? There's nothing there. I'm on group. There's nothing there. I want to be able to tune this whole group. If this whole group is chopped samples, I want to be able to tune this entire group. Insane. But instead, what I have to do is hold down this button, and not only that, when I hold down this button, nothing on the screen changes to indicate that this knob will do something different. Oof. I get that there is a way to do it. I understand that anybody could learn how to do this. What I'm saying is, that's insane. Do you want to sample one more way? Yeah, show me the best. We've been through 3 crazy ways to sample. Let's do another one. Highlight all of the pads at the same time and adjust. Yes, we did that. We did that before. But I do think the idea of having group tune is a good feature. That is a good feature. That is what I was looking for in the first place. I want to tune the whole group. The fact that it's hidden behind this process is insane. That's for effects. The big knob changes the pitch, the swing of the A wing of the volume. That's shortcuts. Accurate says, I'm actually trying to learn Ableton Live now, and I'm just as frustrated as you are. Yes, it is quite frustrating, but Accurate, I hope my beginner series can help you. Not trying to promote myself, but I do think I have a pretty good beginner Ableton Live series. All right, chat. We have to remember to breathe. Everybody take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Did you watch the beginner series on Maschine then, Nick? I did. In fact, I did. And let me tell you. Let me find it, because I was like super stoked. I was like, this is awesome. Native Instruments made this hour-long beginner's guide. I got to show my screen. Give me 1 second, chat. I should teach you Maschine and you teach me Ableton Live. Well, let me ask you this, Accurate. What has sparked your interest in using Ableton Live, I wonder? I'm going to go here. All right. So I watched this in hopes to become a pro, in hopes to learn all the things I need to learn. Unfortunately, none of what we just talked about, none of the music making things that I want to do are basically featured in this, besides like some very, very basic functions. All right. So, but that's fine. It's from like, if you just opened the box and had no idea about Maschine. So the fact that it doesn't cover everything is fine. I'm not criticizing that. It goes through preferences, setup, blah, blah, blah. That's all easy. But one thing I want to point out is I didn't write this down, but over the course of this video, he doesn't touch half the buttons. And some of it is just breezed through. There's some where it's like, and yada, 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 now we have a beat. Like this section.
And I can see that there are 3 different patterns in my group right now. And I can not only...
This, again, goes into the idea that you can edit these patterns. I already talked about why I'm not going to do that on a screen that size.
And another one, and another one, and another one. And you see that it's actually copying.
And also what he does, and it's fine from a beginner's perspective, but what he does is he actually uses a lot of pre-made stuff to come to the conclusion that he comes to. Where it's like, okay, he grabs a pattern that's already been used and then he just switches the sounds for the pattern. It's like, okay, I get it. So I did not watch part 2. I only got through part 1, but I was, during part 1, not super impressed. But I have to go through and watch part 2. So I'll reserve my judgment until then. How to use sample slicer. This is probably the chapter that I should watch. Should have had Datsun do the video and said, hey, I mean, even Sarah has her complete beginner's course. Like, she's a master. I think different people's brains work differently. Also, different musical styles utilize and emphasize different aspects more and others less. Yes, I hear that, Ryan. 100%. So I'm still trying to say I'm being charitable. I'm trying to be charitable. I'm trying to make everybody realize that if great people can make great stuff on something that I don't like, then that just means it's not for me and then it works for them. However, the design flaws are the design flaws. People are successful on these devices in spite of the design flaws, not because of the design flaws. Push 2 and Maschine are pretty competitive, just depends on what you want. I agree. Well, if you're an Ableton primary user, obviously there's no reason to get Maschine. You should just get Push. Hacker says, honestly, a big problem with devices like Maschine or MPCs is that there are multiple different ways to use them. I've changed my entire workflow on Maschine multiple times. I learned everything I needed in Ableton on my own in 18 hours. This would take me 18 years. I'll give yourself a little more credit. I don't think it would take you 18 years. Wither says, I'm looking to get into hardware for the first time and was actually looking to pick up one of these, but it does seem daunting for beginners. Anyone have an alternative recommendation? The problem with that question is you should have already been working with some software first. Well, if you're already working with some software, you should find the hardware that matches up with your software. It's more challenging when you give too many options. I agree. That's why I pulled out the example before of like a Novation circuit, which is limited in its functions, but by itself, you work within those limitations. On the other hand, a machine like Maschine or MPC that have so many options and are trying to get so close to being a DAW, they're so confused in their identity that it's confusing for the user. Anyone know how to use Maschine as one VST and can edit the MIDI in the DAW and not in the Maschine plugin? That would be dope. I don't know, chat. I'm a little bit exhausted on the topic. I think that I've demonstrated pretty well with which I'm so glad that people like Bishop and Accurate, and everybody else, Isaiah, hardcore people that are using the Maschine have come in to check me. But I hope that my criticisms don't just sound like complaining. I hope they're not just complaints. Well, I don't think that they are complaints. I think they're important critical feedback for the people that make the instruments that we all know and love. Because like I said, I don't think it's worth it to make design choices that completely derail a person's trajectory in becoming a music maker. I think that is why design of these musical, whether it's music software, musical instruments, hardware, I think that's why I'm so passionate about it, because everybody that gets interested in music should have a pathway, an easy runway into making music. And every design flaw, like some of the egregious ones that we looked at today, is a moment where somebody can get derailed. Accurate says, these devices aren't easy to learn, but really powerful when you're past the frustration. You do have a point here for sure. Right. So wouldn't it be great if the devices were powerful and not difficult to learn? Wouldn't it be great if we lived in a world where like a device could both be powerful and intuitive? I think so. And I don't want to sum everything up here, but it's like everything is hidden behind a shift function. 8 knobs that are rarely ever being utilized. The first page of parameters that you want to control in any given mode is usually not useful. You usually always have to go into another page to find the thing that you actually want to edit in the first place. You know? 2 X shift keys. There should be another shift key. You're right, Jeremy. There should be another shift key, so you have to hold shift, and duplicate to be able to do something. You can't have complex without being complicated. I disagree, and I also think things can be structured in levels. I think you can have complexity. I think you can have complex, powerful, something that is complex and powerful without being overly complicated. Like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy of something that's, IKEA furniture, right? Like the fact that IKEA furniture comes with directions that just via pictures you can put it together. Because a furniture piece, I'm not saying like IKEA has super complicated pieces, but assembling a piece of furniture can be kind of complex. That is a complex process. And at the end, you get this complex piece of furniture that, lives in your home. But the instructions to getting there, the way of getting there is made simply, right? It's told through simpler than words. It's told through pictures. It's not a perfect analogy, but I think there can be stages, right? Does the Mac have less of these issues though? Oh, I think I'm jumping in on that combo. I don't know what that means. Does the MPC have less of these issues though? No, the MPC has and that's why when I ran the poll that I showed you all at the beginning, when I ran the poll and I was like, which one of these boxes do you want to see? I initially thought I was going to put the MPC one on that list, but I'm like, I so don't want to use the MPC. I so don't want to use the MPC for a lot of the same reasons. And when I started the stream, I mentioned that it's no doubt that Native Instruments designed an MPC or attempted to design an MPC style competitor with both the software and the hardware. That is obvious because a lot of the painful bullshit from MPC is translated directly into Maschine. Jeremy, I only say that MPC I'm less inclined to pick up the MPC because it's all in that box where you're locked into that box, where at least with this software, I can use my mouse and click around and I generally know how an application on Mac works. Whereas like on the MPC, like you're in their completely closed off environment. But also the fact that you already know what you're looking for could make the problem even worse than it would be for a total beginner. Just a thought. I disagree with that. If I'm a producer, I mean, I get your point, right? Like if you only knew Maschine, you'd be like, yeah, slicing samples in Maschine is easy. But having used so many other devices and software that make it so much better, that make the process so much easier and are so much more intuitive, I have perspective that allows me to be more critical than somebody who doesn't have that perspective. I don't think it makes it harder. because I could lay 5 devices out here. Let's say like 404 machine, like Ableton Push with Ableton Live, let's say, and an MPC. They each are going to have their own process for slicing samples. I think we could probably grade each one of those processes after watching each one of them. And slicing samples is just like a swap that for any feature, What devices do you think are better? I don't know, and I'm not really trying to get into that because I think that they all are struggling. I think that they all are struggling. I'm not going to put too much weight on this, but Native Instruments and Ableton, both based in Berlin, both Berlin-based companies. I think there is something common in the design world of Berlin that leads them to do things like make tiny, tiny things in their software. Impossible to see little knobs that if you hold this button down and go into this menu, you can only see for that. Ableton Live and Maschine has that. Ecker says, I love my MPCs and Maschine equally, so I guess I'm just different. For sure. Yeah, like different people like different stuff. And you also flip a lot of vinyl, Accurate. That's not something that I do. You do a lot of sampling and sample flipping. We have 2 different approaches to making music. So obviously different tools for different things. The Groovebox at SP44 ain't exactly the same, but I sold my MPC for the SP. And the MPC has, the SP44 has wild stuff like sequencing, like recording an idea. I'm not going to keep coming back to this, but Novation Tracks, Novation Circuit, the sequencer, the way of like recording musical ideas is so easy. And then on the SP404, it's like go into this menu and then make sure you're in this version of the pattern sequencer menu and blah, blah, blah. Like it's like a nightmare. Accurate says, yeah, but we're both awesome nonetheless. Yes, and that is what makes the world awesome. Different people being interested in different things, being good at different things. That is what makes the world great. If we all liked the same things, it wouldn't be as interesting. That's not an excuse for bad design, though. To me, what you suggested has been now implemented in the new firmware, but I guess the red tape in NI is so huge that I feel they just don't have the space to hear what end users want in addition. I don't know. I don't know about any of that. And Native Instruments does reach out to creators and ask for feedback and things like that. It's tough though, because like they had reached out for some feedback. But like it gets lost for me, it gets lost in email. Like I have to prioritize other things. Like it made sense to do this today. So like maybe this can be used as feedback or something, but I don't know. Not a fan of the circuit rhythm. That goes without saying, I guess. Yeah. Circuit rhythm, is fine. It's cool. I could never recommend it to a beginner because it's just so out of this world. Like the things you have to already know to be able to use it. I could always recommend circuit tracks though. But the way of sampling on circuit rhythm is, it's hard to do that without a screen. And you know what? I have a dream. Chat, I have a big dream that some company will hire me to be the creative director on a new product launch, and the new product will be the OP1 SP404 Killer. It will be a brand new product. It will solve all of these issues that we talked about today. It will be super intuitive. It will be affordable. I'm sitting on the sideline. So my relationship with these companies, right? They send the gear, they want content with it. And to be honest, I can make music with anything. They could send me a toilet and I could make music with it. So like when you see me use stuff and they sponsor something, whatever, I'm going to show you what I can do with it. And I'll give you my honest approach to like, this is what I can do with it. So if I can do that with this, you can too. That's my approach to making those videos. But my relationship with the companies kind of only extends that far, where I want the relationship with these companies to be more like, hey, I hear the audience every week. Like, I'm always getting comments, hearing what people have to say about music technology. I put a lot of thought into how to teach somebody how to use music technology. So why not? So where can I fit into this process of making a new product? Where can I fit in so that the product doesn't suck when you release it? Instead of making the product, sending it to me, asking for feedback, let me get in a little bit earlier in on the process. That's my dream, though. I don't know if that's how companies work, but I don't know. Sample Trek is the sampler Novation should have made. That's interesting. I've seen it. I've seen the videos of it. It doesn't look super appealing to me. I don't know. Have you spoken to Native Instruments at all? They've been supporters of the channels for years. But like I said, it's like free. Like, this video is free consulting, I guess. If they want more consulting, like, that's a job. Happy to come in and consult, but I can't like dedicate time to consult. Like, they are a for-profit company, right? Like, they have a product that they sell. Like, I wouldn't just volunteer to work for them. You know what I mean? So that's that, chat. I hope that you had fun with this stream. If you enjoyed my frustration, we can potentially do more frustration streams. I had kind of fun. And again, I want to reiterate that great people do great things with the machine. Accurate's over there. He's one of them. Datsun and Sarah as well are other names that come to mind. So all that is to say, they can do great things with it. Fantastic. Native Instruments can say, F you, we don't care about your feedback. Or they could look at this and maybe even look at what chat is saying along the way. And that can be maybe valuable to the future. Who can say? I would be there for the MPC one. Guys, I have to really think about that if we're going to do that, because I will be off the rails, unhinged, if we do MPC one. But thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, Accurate, Bishop. Thank you, everybody who chimed in and helping me survive in this difficult time. That was fun, though. I've had the same thoughts over here, TAETRO. Having a part in actual development of something would be great. I agree. All right, everybody, that's it. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all next Thursday for another live stream. However, new video will drop on Tuesday. So don't forget, TAETRO on Tuesdays, TAETRO on Thursdays. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter for regular updates between uploads and live streams. I will talk to you all soon. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.